Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Does anybody remember CODIUS? 'Cause it's not dead. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $2.44 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 0.8%. 68,000. Is it still the same? Yeah, 68,900 plus right now for Bitcoin, 2,500 plus for Ethereum, 120 plus billion market cap for Tether, USDC 34 billion plus, XRP number 7 spot 51 cents, up 1% on the 24, off 5.7 on the 7-day, ranging between 51 and 52 cents. We're sitting almost smack dab at 52 cents. We'll keep an eye on it. Let's get started. I want to shout out to Farhan Prat and everybody at Pierce's Technology. The new XRP Ledger wallet for MetaMask, known as XRP-ILP, has been audited to ensure user security. The audit was conducted by Safer Security, and the results have been published. You can also check out the code, the fork, or contribute to it in an open source way as well. I just want to say shout out to Farhan and everything they're doing. This is amazing, seeing this kind of interoperability happen between MetaMask and the Ledger, and obviously the Ethereum network. There's so much here that's still yet unanswered about Ethereum. You know, it has not had a designation of whether it's a security or not. We all know that Bill Hemmon's little bull crap stunt he pulled is not the law of the land. So it is quite interesting to see how all this shakes out. Not to mention the fact that we also know that CCP China, right? Communist-backed China and Yuan Zhang are behind Ethereum in a big way. So you have to wonder, do we want the world doing smart contract business on this network until we get that figured out? I think not, right? But shout out to Farhan for bringing it together, because these things may act as a mass exodus bridge to get you off of Ethereum, depending on which way all this goes. And if it doesn't, so be it. It brings the interoperability in so all of these things can work seamlessly together the way the internet does for us right now. Boy, I tell you what, you want to hear this gentleman here, Matthew Seigel from Van Eck. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I want to bring you in right about here. And I want you to hear what he's going to talk about. First of all, he's very bullish on Bitcoin and the projection of Bitcoin. But I want you to hear what he says here, because he takes the conversation into BRICS coalition, which is important.
Off, the new folks are buying it. And what we think is that once the election result is finalized, Moody's is going to downgrade U.S. sovereign debt. And that could be a catalyst for Bitcoin.
Doesn't gold correlate with...
Did you hear what he just said there? Let's have that part again about after the election, Moody's could downgrade the U.S. debt, and that is going to send assets, obviously like gold and Bitcoin, parabolic.
The olds who hate it die off, the new folks are buying it. And what we think is that once the election result is finalized, Moody's is going to downgrade U.S. sovereign debt, and that could be a catalyst for Bitcoin.
Doesn't gold correlate with the dollar and with M2 as well? And gold and Bitcoin seem like the correlation broke down a couple of times recently.
Bitcoin is a chameleon. Its correlations change over time. It's hard to predict what it's going to be correlated with over the short term, over the long term.
But you really say it's because of the 21 million and fixed amount is out there, therefore the debasement of the currency favors that. I mean, that's...
Yeah, it's a non-U.S. asset. It's an emerging markets asset. And while
now listen where he takes this conversation.
We were all hyperventilating about the election over the last week. BRICS had a conference in Russia. There's 6 new members of BRICS this year. So BRICS GDP is now greater than the combined GDP of G7. Of the 6 new members, 3 of them, Argentina, the UAE, and Ethiopia, are now mining Bitcoin with government resources. So there's tremendous urgency outside of the U.S. to find a way to circumvent the irresponsible fiscal policy that we've been running here in the U.S. In fact, Russia announced an initiative. Their sovereign wealth fund is going to invest in a regional initiative to build Bitcoin mining and AI infrastructure throughout BRICS with an idea of settling global trade in Bitcoin. So look, someday, I don't know if it's 5 years, 10 years, Putin's going to die. We're going to look to reintegrate some of these countries into the world financial system, and they're going to be trading with Bitcoin. What are we going to be doing?
It's a great question. And speaking of which, we also know that BRICS has floated the idea of releasing and creating their own reserve currency for the nations inside of the BRICS bloc. I want you to listen now as this central banker from South Africa says, I don't even know who brought up introducing our own BRICS currency. We're focused on a payment system. This is important. Listen to what he says here. He laughs off a BRICS currency because it's too far away, but he doesn't laugh off the new payment system.
My BRICS...
We were talking about transparency and talking to people.
My BRICS counterparts ask me, where does this thing originate from? So as central bankers in the BRICS community, we ask ourselves, whose idea is it? And we can't tell exactly whose idea it is.
That's reassuring.
Right? But it turns out that ministers of foreign affairs seems to have mentioned and talked about this. And I've got no doubt with some political commitment the thing might happen, but it's just so way out. I mean, let's put it this. As the central banks, we have been talking about the interoperability of our payment systems. That is where we're spending our energy, talking about cross-border payments. That's where we're spending our energy. We've not been talking about a currency. In any case, as central bankers, we can't determine the currency. Currency is a political project. So somebody must make a political call and say that that is what is going to happen. But just looking at what has been happening with BRICS. We have got a swap line with the People's Bank of China. They have got a renminbi clearing center in Johannesburg.
Now, he goes on and talk about the relationships inside of BRICS, but the truth is that they're working on the payment system, which they already have, and I'll show you. But the BRICS currency is a ways off. 159 countries. 159 countries out of 195 countries worldwide are ready to adopt the new BRICS Pay payment system. Now, the gentleman from Van Eck already just told us that with the new addition of the newest members, they already are outpacing the G7 in GDP. I told you this already too. They also outpaced the G7 in population. They also outpaced the G7 in natural resources inside of the countries inside the BRICS coalition. This is not a laughing matter, right? That's why I'm showing it to you. And remember this here from Paul Barron. Shout out to Paul Barron, where he shows the suggestion we may see deep, deep ties to Ripple inside the BRICS coalition. And that could mean massive implications for Ripple, XRP, and the Ledger in adjoining the world inside of BRICS, because it's almost the entire world looking to adopt a payment system. And then we have to see this emergence of the United States market infrastructure to connect to all of this. And what do I expect it to be? Ripple, Stellar, Circle, Paxos, maybe some others.
You have to kind of look at what they've got on their agenda, which is BRICS clears this next one. It says possibly soon. So this could happen today, it may not. But this would be an interstate digital settlement across a border security settlement. Now, this could be someone like a Chainlink, could be Ripple. Likelihood, I'm thinking more likely it could be Ripple. You look at what Ripple is doing, they're joining the BIS task force. Remember, we just talked about the BIS task force for cross-border payments. And this was a task force that was issued. Let me kind of zoom in on that. There is Ripple right there. Now, SWIFT is in there. TCH is in there. There's a lot, but the question will be is how does BRICS start to move into this? Now, remember, there are 30 countries right now. This could accelerate into 40, 50, 60. And one of the reasons, again, goes back into what Schechner said, and that is that these countries become their own central bank, their own unit of measure. That is a big deal going into the investment markets.
It sure is. There's no question about it. It is a big deal. And we know the connections here, right? We know the Ripple connections here. All these connections with these different core countries inside of BRICS. And he does a great job of showing everybody here. Tranglo, Yes Bank. I actually spoke to the person at Yes Bank 2019 at Ripple Swell. I asked him, I said, you'll have to forgive me. I've flown all the way halfway around the world or more just to come to this conference. I have to ask, will you or do you have any intention, and are anyone in here ever going to use XRP? This was in 2019. He dropped his fork while we were eating lunch and looked at me and said, well, of course we are. What do you think, we're here for the food? That's what he said in 2019. So, yeah, you see the connections. It's pretty remarkable, but let's keep moving quickly here. Well, you talk about timing. Secretary Janet Yellen of the U.S. Treasury is asked about her concerns over the U.S. dollar status as the world reserve currency. And even the U.S. Treasury emblem on the front of the podium doesn't want to answer the question about U.S. dollar's role as a reserve currency. Take a look.
Thank you, Colby Smith with the FT. You've
Right
described
here.
calls for widespread tariffs as deeply misguided, and the IMF today has warned that such policies will dent global growth. Can you elaborate more on the near-term economic impact of these policies and over a longer time horizon? How concerned are you about the potential impact of the dollar status as the world's reserve currency?
Well, there you go. And in true fashion, nothing bothers her. She just laughs.
Let's see.
I got to be honest. It's the blind leading the blind up there in D.C., ladies and gentlemen. It's not funny that it fell. It's not funny that you're even being asked a question like that, more importantly. Because if you're being asked a question like that, that means there's conversations like that happening all around the world, not just on YouTube. And here, this just in. Now, this shows we don't have the whole story right here. When it comes to BRICS, Saudi Arabia has floated the idea of joining BRICS, but they've also used BRICS, I believe, as a stalking horse. What is a stalking horse? When you want something from party A and you use party B to tout that you may join party B to entice party A to give you more of something. And then at last minute, you don't join up with partner B or party B, you join up with party A, right? A stalking horse. Saudi Arabia to host top financial leaders, including BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, and Citibank in Riyadh this week. Now, what's interesting about this is they have come out vocally and said they have not officially joined BRICS. They have set that record straight, and they let that stay very vague for many weeks, if not a few months. So we know that they have not officially joined BRICS, and now they're meeting with a lot of financial legacy firms that are tied to the U.S. economy. Hello, Goldman Sachs, Citibank, BlackRock. And then there's this, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, I tell you what, this is something else. Stephen Thomas, who is the former CTO of Ripple and the creator of CODIUS and the CEO of Coil, recently revealed plans on a new version of CODIUS, the smart contract platform that he pioneered many years ago. Take a listen. For context, he's the former CTO. Thomas shared the update on a recent Future Money podcast, mentioning that it remains early to discuss specifics. His announcement has triggered comments with industry pundits like Max Avery and others highlighting it, and us here on this channel now, right? He says here, the original introduction in 2014 of CODIUS set out to create an open source framework for hosting decentralized apps that allows for greater scalability and flexibility than traditional blockchain platforms. Avery noted that the reintroduced successfully, CODIUS could help enhance XRP Ledger's capabilities, enabling off-chain smart contract processing and scalable application layer. This is absolutely right. And what's exciting about this is that this CODIUS boasts language flexibility for developers, so they could use Java and C++ to write smart contracts. It's also designed to be peer-to-peer applications. So this is got massive implications. And you talk about adoption flying at a rate that we've never witnessed. Let's see this rolled out and just you watch. This here shared by XRP drops. He's excited about it too, as he puts out here the first CTO, Stephen Thomas of Ripple, and co-creator of the Interledger protocol, which, by the way, was donated to the World Wide Web Consortium, the W3C. It was gifted to the W3C, which is a international standards body committee that oversees the practices of the internet. Yes. Yeah, Interledger was donated to them, and he reveals that there will be a new version of CODIUS coming. I love it.
Some things going on, and one of those things is a new version of CODIUS. So I don't want to say too much yet because it's obviously still very early days.
And there you have it, but we can't wait, Stefan. We can't wait. Anders breaks it down and says Interledger protocol and CODIUS adoption and how they're related. Well, according to Stephen Thomas, the co-creator of CODIUS, you need ILP being widely adopted before CODIUS becomes useful. That's why CODIUS is not dying. They're working on a new version of CODIUS in the background at Coil. And since Coil is not entirely dead either, in order to increase adoption, Interledger Protocol, Stephen Thomas is working on something called DASI. DASI is peer-to-peer version of ILP. Previously, the strategy was a top-down strategy of ILP only by institutions. And since ILP adoption is slow, DASI will be the bottom-up approach to ILP adoption so that anyone can adopt ILP instead of only institutions. So look for ILP being adopted before CODIUS will become useful. CODIUS is not dead. Ooh. Remember this one? This is a throwback here. Shout out to XRP LeBroccoli right here. Bringing out the Kendra Hill was this pseudonymous account here of someone that always seemed to have a level of knowledge and understanding about the ultimate goal and intended use of Ripple and their products. This is what Kendra Hill had to say back in the day. Think of cross-border payments, a nice testing ground to prepare Ripple for the use case they have been focused on since the very beginning. The true intention of Ripple are to handle 100% of the transactions which would take place in the derivatives market. Hello, CODIUS. So why do they not make this public knowledge? For multiple reasons, the most important one being that they are not ready. They are missing a piece to the puzzle, and that piece is called CODIUS. And it seems like it's about to rear its head at the perfect time that we're going to see the introduction of the real USD, which incorporates the Ethereum network and the XRP ledger, and then watch CODIUS roll out so not only institutions can interoperate with it with the Interledger protocol, but peer-to-peer, regular consumers can too. Oh boy, things are heating up, ladies and gentlemen. And that's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.